welcome back to another Rory pop-up. Yes, I'm popping up. Why? Because listen, it's the holidays. It is. And I know everybody's busy, especially this weekend. You know, we had Black Friday. Now we have Saturday and Sunday to shop. And then it's going to be Cyber Monday. It's just a lot going on. So I said, well, I'm not going to do a long read. What I'm going to do is do some pop-ups and just discuss some of the things that I have been seeing here on these internet streets. Listen, I don't know. It's some juicy stuff going on, but I am going to put them in bite-sized, pop-up so y'all can just pop in, listen to the pop-up really quick and go ahead on and put your Christmas tree up or, whatever you want to do. These are the holidays and I understand that. So, like I said, I'm going to be popping in, but we will get back on our regular schedule read probably on Monday because, like I said, everybody's shopping, including me. I'm not doing too much shopping though. I'm not going to do too much shopping. It is about the reason for the season for me. So I'm not going to do all that much shopping because my kids are grown now. I have some grandkids I want to spoil. So that is where my focus is going to be. And so y'all tell me in the comments if y'all are like me. Are y'all gearing up for the season? Are you out shopping today? What you doing? What you up to? I mean, I am going to go shopping a little later today. I am just really excited. And y'all know, December the 3rd. I cannot wait, y'all. I cannot wait. Ugh. A holiday celebration will be dropping on Netflix. Our girl is going to tell us what we need to do for these holidays. I don't know. I'm really excited about it. So with all that said, y'all, let's get started because I'll be talking here all day. When I just wanted to pop in and talk about a few things that is going down here on these internet streets, just a few stories that I want to put out there for us to chit chat about. And I'm going to start with this one because it seems that our precious little Princess Lilibet is just as much as a fashionista as her mom. Yes, and she has her own effect. The Lily effect. Now, we all know about the Megan effect. Everything Megan puts on her body or whatever she touches, it sells out. And it looks like her little mini-me, Lily, has that same ability to sell things out. She has her own effect. She does. Look at this. This squatty is posting about it and says this: sold out, the Lily effect. I was today years old when I learned that Princess Lily's dress she wore while she was serving her community with her parents, Harry and Meghan, was sold out within hours. Within hours. And I am not one bit surprised. Yes, Lily. Lily is going to be everything, y'all. She is. She is going to be everything. When she starts to grow up and come into her own, how can she not be everything? Because Harry is everything. Meghan is everything. They both have that it factor. They do. And look like they have passed it on to Prince Archie and Princess Lily because Prince Archie was trending. He was. Prince Archie was trending. I cannot, y'all. These two are just going to be such great people. I can see it. I can really see it. They absolutely inherited their it factor from their mom and their dad. And Lily, I mean, everything she touches turns to gold as well. And look at this. This squatty says hashtag Megan effect Princess Lily edition. Yes, I like that name. And it says hashtag Princess Lilibet's dress is sold out everywhere. The Princess Lilibet Diana effect. Yes, we are loving this, y'all. We are loving this. And look at this. Even the Daily Fail had to add its little 2 cents into the conversation. We really need to start to charge them in some kind of way, because all they do is monitor our accounts and just copy and paste and write stories about what the squatties are talking about. I mean, it is ridiculous at this point. They are absolutely all up in our business. Why aren't they up in those haters' business and try to go there and expose them for being bot accounts hired and paid for by Kensington Palace to smear Harry and Meghan? Why are they not investigating that? It's very easy now that X has just put it all out there for everyone to see, that all of these accounts are not coming from Great Britain. They're not coming from the United States. They're not coming from Australia. They are coming straight out of Nigeria, Russia, Pakistan, all these places where they are just notorious for having all of these bot farms. I mean, there's your story if you want to go out and do it, but we all know why you won't, because you want to play into the narrative that somehow Harry and Meghan are so hate. You love the vilification of Harry and Meghan, even when it's not real people. So yeah, we get it. You rather monitor Squatty's accounts and just take the low-hanging fruit. You don't want to put in the work to really expose the people who are out here just being reckless with their mouths, and you don't want to expose that family over there for their buying of bots. And everyone knows that they're buying bots because the barrier poll just shows that these people aren't as popular as they are portrayed to be. At least on social media, they're not. One thing bots cannot do, they cannot show up and stand behind barriers. And every time the barriers are put out there, they are exposed. They are exposed for inflating their popularity. That's all I'm saying. All right, y'all, look at this. I get on a tangent, y'all, but it just gets on my nerve that they follow our accounts and all they do is write stories about what we're talking about. Go and find some real news for once, because that's a story. That is a huge story that needs to be told. Now, we all know that the New York Times told the story of how they were buying followers, Kensington Palace was. But now, let's get to the story of them buying bots to attack Harry and Meghan. How about doing that story? Let's put that out there. But I digress again, y'all. Look what they wrote. They said, Princess Lilibet's dress sells out after volunteering appearance. Yes, writing about Lily. Instead of doing some investigative reporting, you know, actual journalism, and finding out what's going on with this online smearing of Princess Lilibet's mother and father and the Sussex family, because they be saying some reckless stuff about the kids as well. What about doing that? But the squatty that posted this said this: I am not even going to analyze why they took the time to address the little princess with the proper title when they usually don't. I think we might need to start calling it the Sussex effect. Yes, that is the reason why. They want that family connected to Lily's Sussex effect. They want to try to just glom on to any kind of shine that's coming from Montecito. And I think that's the reason. And this particular squatter came up under there and said ownership. By using her title in a positive article, they are essentially telling their audience that it's her connection to the firm that caused the sellout. Exactly. Exactly. That is the reason why I have said it time and time again. I have no problem with the titles going. Let them go. Because sometimes you have to prove things to people. Sometimes you have to show up and show out and let them know who you are. Because we know Harry and Meghan and these kids, they're the real deal. They can stand on their own. They don't need these titles because it's so many who have titles that nobody cares about. So my whole thing is, if the majority of them have titles and nobody cares about them, including the future king and queen, dumb as a rock, nobody cares anything about what they're doing. And they have the highest titles next to the monarchs, who nobody really cares anything about, Chuck and his horse. So, how could it possibly be the titles that are causing the Sussexes effect instead of just their shine? Like I said, I am not going to be mad if they take those titles. Let Willie take them, because at the end of the day, it's going to hurt them way more than it'll ever hurt Harry, Meghan, and those babies. Watch what I tell you. Put your foot on it, as my grandmother used to say, and just sit back and watch it unfold. They can do it if they want to, but they do it to their own detriment. I'm going to read this comment again. It says, ownership. By using her title in a positive article, they are essentially telling the audience that it is her connection to the firm that is that caused the sellout. They subconsciously claiming ownership of her success. Notice they didn't link her parents to the headline. All I can say is this: Harry and Meghan just absolutely did the right thing when they decided to leave that family, leave them behind. Because can you imagine what would have been done to Lily and Archie if they had remained? They know Lily and Archie are cash cows, and they want to try to use them for exactly that, and would have used them for exactly that if Harry and Meghan was still over there in that family as working royals. Because as working royals, those kids belong to the firm, not to their parents. And Lily and Archie would have been just as unprotected as Meghan was. They would have used them as fodder for those Wells children. They would have been the ones who would be sacrificed on Willie's PR altar, just like him and Harry was sacrificed on Camilla's. They would have never been able to reach their full potential. They would have been stifled. They would have been lied on, called dumb, just like they did Harry. And when Harry finally got away from there, we really could see the real scope of Harry's intelligence, who he was as a person. And Harry is extraordinary. And compared to William, he is a genius. But we never would have known that, because the whole storyline, the whole narrative coming out of that monarchy was Harry was less than. And that's exactly what would have happened to Lily and Archie. I am so happy about this. Now they just have to pick up the scraps. All those rags over there just have to scrounge around for the crumbs that they find in the squatties, Instagrams, and X accounts. And I love that for them. I do. And look, here's another story. It's as if they can't help themselves. It says Princess Lilibet follows in her mother's Meghan Markle's footsteps. At least they acknowledge that the Meghan effect. They know what's going on with Harry and Meghan. They know that they have the shine. They admit it time and time again. But then they have done everything they could to smear it and put it out. But I digress. It says, as her stylish dress sells out after volunteering appearance. Yes, they can't help themselves. And the swatty that posted this said, it's the Sussex way. Exactly. They know who has to shine. And Harry and Meghan has passed it on to Princess Lily and Prince Archie. Like I said earlier, Prince Archie was absolutely trending. He was. He was trending because they have that it factor. They just do. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. This is a story I want us to chit chat about. Now, this story comes by way of Tom Thumbhead Sykes. It seems that Willie has been crying his salty tears, and he has finally got a cup full, and he has brought them over there to Tom Thumbhead Sykes to write an article. And this particular article is pretty much saying that Willie and his family will not be attending Christmas lunch at Sandrium, that they will not be having Christmas lunch with Charles and his horse. So I start thinking after I read the story, I did read the story, and this is the same story pretty much that came out last year. Willie has not attended Christmas lunch with Charles for a minute now. Now they do the Christmas walk back to church and back, but they never stay for lunch. And you remember the story last year was supposed to be a big story that they were going to have Christmas lunch and they was going to post all these videos on their YouTube channel about their Christmas, how they gonna, exchange real presents because the royal family only exchanged gag presents. But Willie and Kitty was gonna have a traditional Christmas and they were gonna have it with the Middletons. Y'all remember that story? Well, this is pretty much the same thing because they are doing what they have been doing for the past 3 years now. They really haven't attended Christmas lunch, and I think this will be the third year. Correct me in the comments, but I think it's been the third year now. And so I don't understand why they keep planning the same story, encouraging Tom Thumbhead Sykes to write the same story. But in this particular story, it is a little more information and it is some goodies in here because what is pretty much being said is William has turned against Beatrice and Eugenie. He has. He doesn't want the monarchy to have anything to do with any of the Yorks, and that includes Beatrice and Eugenie. And he's saying in this article that that is the reason why he has a problem with his father. Also, what happened in his father's marriage, between his father and his mother in their marriage. Yes, he's saying that he's still salty about that. Now, I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not saying that he's lying. But why all of a sudden all of this is coming out? I'm just saying it's a little sus, especially after you got on national TV and call your mama paranoid. I'm just saying, but that is what he is saying in this article. And I'm going to read a little bit of the article and we'll talk about it. The title of the article is Prince William Skips King's Christmas Lunch Amidst Deepening Rift and Andrew Fallout. After a year of astonishing tension, disagreements, and clashing visions for the monarchy, the Prince of Wales is declining again, like I said, again, to join his father for Christmas lunch. It says Prince William is skipping Christmas lunch with his father after long simmering tension between the monarch and his heir were made worse by the palace's shambolic handling of the Prince Andrew affair. It says William and Charles' office did not respond to a request for comment, but the source told the royalists William and the family will do their duty and go to church with William and the family will do their duty and go to church with big smiles pasted on, but they will not be expected for Christmas lunch at the big house. It has been an extremely difficult year for William and Catherine. William and his family are expected to retreat to their private home, Amber Hall, after the 11 a.m. church service on Christmas Day. This will mark the third year in a row. I thought it was three. They have skipped lunch with William's dad. Yes, this has been going on for a minute. It has been going on a minute. It says a friend of the king angrily denies the decision represents a rift, saying, of course, William is invited, and of course, he is free to do his own thing without anyone being remotely upset. That right there is a lie. They hate one another. Charles cannot stand William because William is not anything that Charles can respect, and vice versa. William can't stand Charles because Charles is nothing that William can respect. And it says, however, the royalists understand that the deep personal rift between father and son, William spoke openly to Eugene Levy about the trauma of his family separation. Now, all I can say is I'm not going to deny that whole situation between Charles and Diana didn't affect William, because you can clearly see something affected William. William is absolutely spiraling. He cannot get control of who he is. He can't get his footing, all because his brother left, all because his whipping boy left. He cannot get his footing. So it's definitely something is going on with William. I don't know if it was because of his upbringing, minus his mother, the situation that went on prior to her being killed. I don't know. A therapist would have to dig into that. But it's something definitely going on with William. I'm just saying. And it says, in recent weeks, Charles gave Beatrice a coveted royal patronage of a key royal charity, the Outward Bound Trust. The king's judgment was called into question by the move, which came days after she was spotted hosting a tea at a five-star hotel in Saudi Arabia and attending investment conference in Riyadh, the stomping ground of many of Andrew's old contacts. So this is what William is saying he is concerned about, because Charles is giving Beatrice this new patronage, and she is still out here, kind of kicking it up with some of Andrew's old contacts. And they are feeling that, well, this is what William is trying to say, that he feels that everybody is spoiled and they should be cut adrift. And they, in this article, they're saying, had the nerve to bring Harry up, talking about he was right about Andrew and he's right about Harry. I mean, get out of here. I mean, it's a comparison for me. Yes, comparing Harry to Andrew. We all know Harry hadn't done anything that could ever be compared to Andrew. But he wants to put Harry's name in the mix because he wants to try to paint Harry as someone who has exposed the monarchy. No, Harry didn't expose the monarchy. You and Charles exposed the monarchy. If this monarchy is to slip down the drain, it has nothing to do with Harry. It has everything to do with Charles, Willie, and Andrew. And the Queen. You can absolutely argue that she played a part in it as well, because she never kiboshed a lot of this nonsense that was going on. She indulged Andrew, and she never made Charles and Willie bring them to heel when it came to Harry and Meghan. So all of this undoing is of their doing, not Harry and Meghan. Harry was only trying to save his family. He saw what had happened to his mother, and he was not going to allow it to happen to his wife. He said it time and time again that he did not want history to repeat itself. So they can miss me with this nonsense that somehow Harry equates to Andrew. That is not going to happen. Y'all are not going to make that dog hunt, because everybody who has the ability to reason and be rational can see that is nothing except a lie. Now it goes on to say, I'm told that the princesses are being invited to Sandringham for Christmas as part of Charles' ongoing effort to make it clear that they are not cut off from royal society like their father. And it is so funny to me that Charles is going out of his way to make sure that Beatrice and Eugenie are good, but never went out of his way to make sure Harry and Meghan was good and their family, exposing them to life-threatening things. I mean, it is it is something. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this nonsense. And also, William has turned against Beatrice and Eugenie. And all I can say to that is this: boy, did they choose the right side. Because let's not get it twisted. They chose William over Harry. And now William is their enemy. That goes to show you how quickly he would turn. But Harry, one thing about Harry, Harry is loyal. Harry would have never turned on them like William. But all I can say is, yeah, this is some FAFO, isn't it? It is for Beatrice and Eugenie. And y'all remember that the same time Thumbhead Sykes reported that William had went to Eugenie and Beatrice and told them if they didn't get their father to, denounce his titles and all of that, that they would suffer for that. Y'all remember that? And this is the side, this is the cousin that they chose. Like I said, Harry would have been there. Harry is a stand-up guy. William absolutely is not. Anything that doesn't benefit him, he don't care who it is. He is willing to knife them. He's willing to shank you. He is, and that's exactly what has happened to Beatrice and Eugenie. They've been shanked. And I just love it. I do, because they shanked Harry and Meghan. It says William's concerns go deeper than the Christmas photo call, however. Both women continue to rent private properties in London as from the king on terms unknown. Beatrice in St. James Court and Eugenie in Ivy Cottage in Kensington Palace. For many years, the media have been told father paid commercial rent on his property. And they're talking about Royal Lodge, and he goes on to say that, it was found out that he was paying what they call peppercorn rent, and which is nothing. So what William is expressing his concern that if it gets out that Eugenie and Beatrice are paying nothing on this, what is it? St. James Court apartment and Ivy Cottage. I don't think that's a concern. But I'll tell you one thing, our next story is going to tell about somebody who is paying peppercorn. I mean, everybody getting exposed. Everybody getting exposed. But I want to finish this before I get into that. It says Williams' operation is ran by a cascade of young digital savvy individuals who understand the threat that the king's ongoing endorsement of Beatrice and Eugenie represents to the monarchy. Now, all I can say is, if he's talking about those folks over there at Kensington Palace, those people talking about their digital savvy, these are the same people who do nothing but watch Harry and Meghan and get Willie and Kitty to copy everything Harry and Meghan's done. I mean, it is not a new idea or a original idea has ever come out of Kensington Palace, not since Harry and Meghan has been on the scene. They have done nothing but copy and paste. So I don't think I would call them savvy. I think I would call them incompetent. But okay, this really tells you a lot, because if Willie think these people are savvy, that is the reason why him and Kitty continues to circle the drain. And this part right here, I found to be one of the most interesting parts of this article. It says a friend of Eugenie denied claims that a request had been made by William for the princesses to have an ethics check on their finances and insisted that they had nothing to hide. Her office didn't respond to a request for a comment. And it goes on to say, a friend of William said, we all know a friend of William is William. There is not a specific fear about a specific detail. There is anxiety about the broader impact on the monarchy's reputation of anyone with the surname York being part of it. He wants them out. I wonder what they think about that. Like I said, FAFO for these two, because they absolutely never made one attempt to stand by Harry and Meghan. Because we saw it in real time. Beatrice chose Willie straight away and kissed piss on moron on the cheek in front of the cameras for everyone to see. She chose her side. Eugenie kind of flip-flopped a little bit, but when push come to shove and the rubber hit the road, she chose the monarchy. She chose Willie. And now Willie is the scorpion that keeps on stinging her and Beatrice. He wants them out. And I just love this for them. I don't know about y'all, but I am thrilled. Y'all tell me what y'all think, but I am thrilled with this because, like I said, it's FAFO for these two. And it's not that it is not deserved. They deserve every bit of it because they have been nothing but disloyal when it comes to Harry and Meghan. They have done nothing but just sleep with the enemy, not literally, but figuratively. They have done nothing but sleep with the enemy, getting off of planes with Jeremy Clarkson, doing engagements with him, charity engagements. And we all saw, and I just talked about how they embraced Piers Morgan, having lunch with him, and all this nonsense, knowing all the things, all the vicious things he has done to attack Harry and Meghan. So now this is, I would say, their comeuppance, and I love it. I have zero sympathy. Y'all tell me what y'all think. But then the article spins into a whole lot of other nonsense that we've talked about before. But I just thought this was the most interesting part, that William has fully turned against Beatrice and Eugenie. And I love it for them. I do. And this particular squatty posted that same article and said this: toddler Willie is furious that Charles is still alive. I believe that to be true. And Beatrice and Eugenie are still standing. I believe that to be true. And Harry and Meghan still have their titles. And I believe that to be true. And it says, and the global admiration he so craved never came. Honestly, they're probably relieved he is skipping Christmas lunch. What a big baby. Now, everything this particular squatty said is absolutely on the money because the global admiration he's been out here on his knees begging for, nobody pays him no mind. They don't take Earth Flop serious. I mean, it has been ridiculous how he has tried to frame this into him being some kind of global advocate, some kind of global statesman, which is hilarious because what has he done besides slipping through the right birth canal? He was born into this. He has done nothing to show that he deserves any kind of title, including the ones that have been given to him. I'm just saying. So I agree with this squatty. They are probably so happy that he is at Amber Hall and not there in the main house. I'm just saying. And then this other squatty came up under and said this: the fact that the media is disclosing Willie's Sandrian plan, but still no snub narrative for the Sussexes, feel like even more confirmation that the Sussexes have been invited and probably said yes. What y'all think about that? Now, that is an interesting take. Now, my take on this is I don't think so. I don't. Now, the Sussexes maybe was invited, but I don't think that they are coming. But this squatty feels that because the media has not did their annual "the Successes are snubbed" articles. And I must admit, I have not saw any articles saying that the Successes have been snubbed. They will not be coming to Sandringham this year. You know those articles that they roll out every year. I hadn't saw any. And I must say, it is strange because we all know that the media does this annual dance of nonsense about how Harry and Meghan is not invited to Sandringham every year, but I hadn't saw it. So y'all tell me what y'all think. Do y'all think that Harry and Meghan has been invited? And if Harry and Meghan has accepted? Now, I tend to believe no. I don't believe they've been invited, so you can't accept something you hadn't been invited to. Now, as for the reason why they haven't played all these narratives about Harry and Meghan being snubbed, I don't know. But y'all tell me what y'all think. Do you agree with this, Squatty, that maybe Harry and Meghan have been invited to Sandringham for Christmas and they have accepted? Like I said, I tend to believe no. I don't think so. But the Squatty goes on to say, and the rota has been gagged from talking about it for now. Now, I don't know, y'all, but I really think no. Y'all tell me what y'all think, but it is very interesting. This take is very interesting. Definitely something to talk about. Y'all tell me what y'all think. And there's one more thing I want to add to this story, about William not coming to Christmas lunch at the big house. And that is this. Let me read it. It says, there were suspicions in the summer that rivals were encouraging some of the stories about William and Kate's long and extravagant summer holidays as a kind of proxy war aimed at undermining the couple's carefully cultivated narrative of middle class normality. And I wanted to add this because I really feel that this shows that it is a full-on war between Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace. This is William acknowledging that Buckingham Palace is the ones that absolutely outed him and Kitty while they were floating down the Greek Isle on this sheik's luxury yacht. And they mad about that. They mad about that. And I really believe they are also that it was Willie and Kitty that outed, the horse while she was floating somewhere. I don't know where she was, but she was on a luxury yacht as well. And I think it was owned by another Middle Eastern family. And they outed the horse as retaliation. They were going tit for tat this summer. And this is the results. They can't even sit down to a Christmas dinner table and be civil with each other. They have to paint the smiles on, go to church, and then go their separate ways. I love it for them. I do. And all I can say is they need to stop calling these people a family and call them what they are: a bunch of stinging scorpions, a nest of vipers. That's who these people are. And this is the last story I want us to chit chat about. And this appeared in the Times. And it is about Sophie and Edward and that big, huge mansion of theirs and how much rent they pay. And that would be a peppercorn. I kid you not. This is what the Times says. It says exclusive. The king's brother. He is so unpopular, so just absolutely bland that people don't even know who he is. He has to be called the king's brother. It says the king's brother, Prince Edward, enjoys his Surrey mansion at a peppercorn rent. It can be revealed after the Time forced the disclosure of documents held by the Crown Estate. Yes, they are outing. They are outing Edward and Sophie. Who is surprised by this? Who is surprised by this? And the squatty that posted this, as you can see, you see that first one? That's Edward's house. And he pays one peppercorn for rent. Tell me this is not a grift. This is a grift. This squatty that posted this said at a peppercorn rent, but Frogmore Cottage. It says they took Megan's 2.4 million pounds for what? And anyone who still thinks the way they treated Megan isn't about race is just as racist or dumb or both. Now, I agree with this squatty. Now, it is some racism involved in this, but I do believe that it is bigger and it is deeper, meaning that they have never, ever wanted Harry to have anything. They had Harry in a shack, the second most popular royal. They had him in a shack. And when he got married, well, when he went to his father and told him he wanted to get married, he said that he didn't even have any money for him and Megan, that Megan was not going to be given an allowance. So, yes, I think maybe that's where the racism came in, because when Kitty came in, she got an allowance. When the horse came in, she got an allowance, but not Megan. But I think where it's deeper than that is that they never wanted Harry to have anything because Harry was the most like his mother, and they resented him for that. Now they weren't above using him for that, but they resented him for that, and they wanted him to have nothing. And when Harry and Meghan got together, it seems like some kind of resentment. They cannot handle Harry and Meghan having nice things. So yeah, I agree with this squatty, but I believe it goes deeper. Y'all tell me what y'all think. But I think it goes a little deeper than just racism. I think it is a hatred for their excellence and their shine as well. I'm just saying. And I'm going to put this one up, and it says Prince Harry, fifth in line, lived in a cottage. Edward, 15 in line, lived in a over 100-room estate. But royalists, trolls, and the British media keeps telling the spare he should leave his wife and children to return home to help the family. Show how sick in the head they are. Exactly. Now, somebody has treated you like a dog, have done everything that they can to keep you down. And when they get in dire straits, they want you to come back and place your head right there on the ground so they can put their foot back on your neck. How dare you? How dare you even insinuate that Harry should come back to that kind of treatment? They never treated Harry worth anything. And when he married Meghan, it only got worse. Harry didn't know what Dior was. He didn't know what Balenciaga was. He didn't know any of the designers. Now, he didn't care because Harry is a true soldier. All right, Harry is true to what he believes, and he actually cares about the people that he serves. So it wasn't a big deal to him. But to treat him in this manner when he's out here working hard and doing everything that he could do for that firm over there, and for them to keep their foot on his neck and have him living in a shambolic way, while the 15th in line is living in a mansion with over 100 rooms. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up and have the nerve, have the gall to want Harry to play Captain Saberho. I cannot with these people. So all I can say is good luck, because why would Harry ever want to come back and save these people? Because they have done nothing but want to destroy him. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I plan on coming back later on tonight with another story, and let me tell you, it's delicious. Now, it is going to be a short little pop-up. It's probably going to be maybe 20 minutes at the most, but listen, it is juicy, so y'all look out for your girl, okay? All right, y'all, I'll see y'all a little later. Bye.